My name is Alina. I am 38 years old. I have been married for 15 years, and until this precise second, I was convinced that I was slowly losing my grip on reality. For months, the signs had been there, scattered like breadcrumbs I was too afraid to follow. The sudden dedication to late-night office work, the scent of a cologne I didn't buy him, the way he began hitting the gym with the fervor of a man 20 years his junior. Every time I dared to voice a question, he would turn it back on me, painting me as paranoid, suffocating, the architect of my own misery. But now, she is here. She is younger, naturally, perhaps 32, with hair the color of spun gold and an outfit that screams effortlessly chic. She watches the stage door with the same maternal anxiety I feel, and the realization hits me with the force of a physical blow. She has a child here. A little girl runs out, a miniature version of the woman, and leaps into her arms. I watch Mark. He doesn't look at the child, but he smiles at the space between them, a proprietary, knowing smile that turns my stomach to ice. When Sophie rushes out, flushed and triumphant, asking if I saw her pirouette, I have to summon every ounce of strength to keep my face from shattering. I tell her she was magnificent. Mark joins us, his performance seamless. He ruffles Sophie's hair, plays the doting father, and lies to my face about the traffic he beat to get here. I say nothing. I hold my silence like a weapon. Later that night, in the safety of our home, after Mark has kissed my forehead and retreated to the shower to wash away the day, and perhaps the scent of her, I make my move. His phone is on the nightstand. He changed the passcode 6 months ago, citing corporate security protocols, but Mark is a creature of habit, not innovation. I try the usual dates. Nothing. Then, with a nausea rising in my throat, I punch in a date from 3 months prior, the first night he stayed out until dawn. The screen unlocks. And there it is, the digital autopsy of my marriage. The contact is saved as Client Ross, but the messages are a library of intimacy. I can't wait to breathe the same air as you tomorrow. Wear the blue silk. I know it's complicated, but you make me feel alive. I scroll back through months of this. Her name is Chloe. She is a divorcee, or so she claims in the text, and they met at the gym. Her daughter, Mia, is in Sophie's dance class. They have been carrying on this shadow life for 7 months. 7 months of my life rendered a lie. I hear the water shut off and replace the phone with the precision of a bomb disposal expert. When Mark returns, scrubbing a towel through his hair, he asks if I'm okay. I tell him I'm just tired. In a way, it is the most honest thing I have said all year. The next morning, the real work begins. I create a burner Instagram account and hunt her down. Chloe is not hard to find. She is a chronic oversharer. Her life is curated in squares of avocado toast, gym selfies, and her daughter's artwork. I scroll back past the recent months until I find it, a photo from 12 weeks ago. It is Chloe, beaming, wrapped in the arms of a man who looks like he could bench press a truck. The caption reads, 8 years down, forever to go. Happy anniversary to my rock, David. She isn't divorced, she is married. I screenshot everything, the texts, the photos, the dates. I compile a dossier of betrayal on my laptop, and then, after dropping Sophie at school, I drive to a secluded parking lot and scream until my throat tastes like copper. But tears are a luxury I cannot afford. Mark doesn't get to do this. He doesn't get to detonate our family and walk away unscathed. And Chloe doesn't get to play the blushing bride on Instagram while sleeping with my husband. Finding David takes 3 days. He works in construction management, his contact info readily available on his company's site. I stare at the blank email draft for an hour. Do I destroy this stranger's life? Then I remember Mark's smile at the recital. I hit send. Mr. Bradley, you don't know me, but we need to speak regarding your wife, Chloe, and my husband, Mark. I have evidence. We meet the next day in a park that sits on the border of our 2 towns. David is a large man, broad-shouldered and formidable, but as he sits on the park bench, he looks diminished, as if his internal scaffolding has collapsed. His eyes are rimmed with red. He tells me he didn't believe my email at first, that he thought I was insane,
until he checked Chloe's phone while she slept. We sit in a heavy silence, two strangers bound by the same wreckage. He asks the question that hangs in the air. What do we do? I don't know, I admit. I just wanted you to know the truth. David runs a hand over his face. You know what the worst part is? Our 10-year anniversary is in 2 weeks. I bought her a necklace. I booked a table at her favorite restaurant. My head snaps up. My 15th anniversary is in 2 weeks, I say slowly. Mark made a reservation at Merlot's downtown. He loves the show of it. David looks at me, and a dark understanding passes between us. Merlot's? He asks. That's where I was taking Chloe.
The coincidence is sickening, but it offers an opportunity that feels almost divinely ordained. What if, David says, his voice dropping to a low rumble, we give them the anniversary they truly deserve? The plan is hatched in quiet corners of diners and hushed phone calls. We have to maintain the charade. I have to wake up next to Mark, pour his coffee, and listen to his lies about work, all while knowing exactly whose bed he is dreaming of. David plays his part with Chloe, feigning excitement for their milestone. 5 days before the date, Mark confirms the reservation. 7 p.m., Merlot's, he says, flashing that charming grin that used to melt me. Perfect, I reply. What I don't tell him is that I have made a phone call to the restaurant to adjust the seating chart. The night arrives. I dress in a red gown that Mark bought me years ago, back when he actually saw me. I paint my lips a crimson shade of war. Sophie is at her grandmother's. Mark tells me I look beautiful, but his eyes are vacant. The drive to the restaurant is suffocatingly quiet. We arrive at Merlot's, a dimly lit establishment of white linens and hushed conversations. The hostess, whom I had spoken to previously, leads us through the maze of tables. We turn a corner into a semi-private alcove. And there they are. Chloe and David are seated at the table directly adjacent to ours. I watch the blood drain from Mark's face. It happens in slow motion. The recognition, the panic, the sheer biological terror. Chloe's eyes go wide, darting between Mark and David. Oh, what a lovely surprise, I exclaim, my voice pitching up theatrically. Mark, look, it's Chloe from the dance academy, and this must be her husband. David stands, extending a hand that is as steady as a rock. David, he says, pleasure to finally meet the man my wife talks about so vaguely. Mark's hand shakes as he takes it. Right, hi. We should join tables, I suggest, ignoring Mark's subtle attempts to pull me away. It's fate, isn't it? Both of us celebrating anniversaries. Come on, don't be shy. Before they can protest, the staff, acting on my previous instructions, pushes the tables together. We are now a party of 4. I sit next to Mark, David sits next to Chloe. The two cheaters are facing each other, trapped in the geometric center of their own deceit. So, I begin, unfolding my napkin with a snap. So, how do you two know each other again? Just the gym? Chloe looks like she might faint. Yes, she stammers. Just passing each other. Passing each other, David repeats, his voice flat. Is that what we're calling it? Mark clears his throat, desperate to regain control. Honey, maybe we should just have a private dinner. This feels intrusive. Intrusive? I ask, widening my eyes. But we have so much in common, Mark. We're all married. We all have daughters. We all value loyalty, don't we, Chloe? The air at the table drops 20 degrees. Chloe grips her water glass until her knuckles turn white. David, can we go? She whispers. Why? David asks, his voice rising just enough to turn heads. You love the food here, unless you've lost your appetite. Guilt can do that to a person. Mark stands up abruptly. Amber, we're leaving, now. Sit down, Mark, I say. I don't shout, but the command is absolute. We aren't going anywhere. We have champagne coming. You're making a scene, he hisses. I'm not making a scene, I reply calmly. I'm just celebrating. See, David and I had a very interesting conversation last week. We compared notes, timelines, hotel receipts. The silence that follows is absolute.
You could hear a pin drop in the restaurant. "We know," David says, leaning in. "We know about the gym. We know about the work trips. We know about the burner phones." Mark looks at me, and for the first time, the mask slips completely. He looks small. "Elena, I cut him off. Don't insult me with an explanation. I have the screenshots, Mark. Thousands of them. I know you told her you were leaving me. I know you told her our marriage was a sham." I turned to Chloe. "And you? Did you know he was planning to wait until after the holidays? That was his big plan." Chloe looks at Mark, betrayed by her own co-conspirator. "You said you filed the papers weeks ago." David lets out a dark, humorless laugh. Liars lying to liars. It's almost poetic. The waiter arrives with the champagne, sensing the catastrophic tension, but bound by duty to pour. David raises his glass. "To 10 years, he says to Chloe, then turns to Mark. "And to 15. May you both get exactly what you deserve." We make them sit through dinner. It is a grueling, magnificent torture. David and I eat our steaks and salmon, chatting politely about the weather, while Mark and Chloe stare at their plates, looking like they are awaiting execution. By the time the check comes, the spirit has been crushed out of them. We walk out of the restaurant together, leaving them trailing behind like scolded children. In the parking lot, David turns to me. "That was everything," I finish for him. "What now?" he asks. "Now," I say, unlocking my car, "I go home, I change the locks, and I start the rest of my life." The divorce is a war of attrition. I hired a lawyer named Patricia, a woman with a reputation for being a shark in a silk suit. We unearthed everything. Mark had spent nearly $15,000 on his affair. Hotels, jewelry, dinners. Money that belonged to our family, to Sophie's future. When faced with the evidence, Mark's lawyer advised him to settle.
I got the house, primary custody, and a significant portion of his assets. But the victory was hollow. Telling Sophie was the hardest thing I have ever done. We sat her down, and I watched her world fracture as we explained that Daddy wouldn't be living here anymore. She cried for hours, asking if she had done something wrong, and every tear she shed was another mark against his soul. In the months that followed, David became my lifeline. We met for coffee, at first just to exchange legal updates and vent, but soon it became the highlight of my week. We were two survivors of the same shipwreck, clinging to the same piece of driftwood. He told me Chloe had moved into an apartment and was trying to force a relationship between Mark and her daughter Mia. It was a disaster. The kids were confused and angry. "I miss having a partner," David confessed one rainy Tuesday. "Not her, just the feeling of someone having your back." "Me too," I said, stirring my latte. "It's the silence in the house that gets me." 6 months post-divorce, I receive an invitation to a wedding. A friend insists I bring a +1. I text David, "Do you own a tuxedo and have a high tolerance for aggressive romance?" He replies instantly, "For you? Yes." The wedding is at a vineyard, bathed in golden hour light. Watching the couple exchange vows, I feel a pang of cynicism, but then I look at David. He is watching me, not the ceremony. We slip away during the reception, walking through the rows of grapevines under a canopy of stars. "We made it," he says softly. "We survived." "Barely," I laugh, though it sounds breathless. "Elena," he says, stopping to face me. "Is this weird? Us?" "Ideally, yes, it's a logistical nightmare," I admit. "But it feels right." He steps closer, and the air between us charges with electricity. "I don't want to be just a trauma bond," he says. "I want to be real." "Then be real," I whisper. He kisses me, and it is nothing like the frantic, deceitful passion Mark chased. It is steady. It is grounded. It feels like coming home. We try to keep it quiet, but in a small town, secrets have a short shelf life. When Mark finds out, he is apoplectic. He calls me screaming that it's inappropriate, that I'm confusing Sophie, that I'm doing this out of spite. "Spite?" I ask, gripping the phone. "Mark, you are living with his ex-wife. You don't get to lecture me on morality. I found happiness in the mess you made. Deal with it." The real test comes when the exes try to weaponize the children. Sophie comes home crying one day because Mark told her that Mommy is trying to replace Daddy with Mr. David. I see red. I call David and we agree. We will not let them poison the well. We sit the girls down, Sophie and Mia, and explain that love isn't a finite resource. We explain that our friendship grew into something more, just like they are friends. It takes time and patience and a lot of ice cream, but slowly the girls adjust. They see that David treats me with respect. They see that I listen to them. They see the difference between a house built on lies and one built on truth. A year passes. It is a slow, steady climb out of the dark. The final seal on our past comes at the spring dance recital, the same event where my life fell apart 2 years ago. We are all there. The tension is palpable, but different now. Mark and Chloe look tired. Their grand romance, born in secrecy, is struggling under the weight of bills, custody schedules, and the mundane reality of life. David and I sit on the opposite side, holding hands. After the show, the girls beg for ice cream. In a moment of surreal truce, we all end up at the parlor across the street. The girls sit at one table, laughing, oblivious to the history at the adult table. "They're happy," David observes, nodding at the kids. Mark looks at the girls, then at me. "Yeah, they are." He looks defeated. "Elena, I'm glad you're happy. Really." It's not an apology, but it's an admission. He sees what he lost. He sees that he traded a diamond for a rhinestone, and now he has to live with the appraisal. Later that summer, in the backyard of the house I fought to keep, watching our daughters chase fireflies in the twilight, David turns to me. He doesn't make a big speech. He doesn't need an audience. He just takes my hand and asks if I want to make this permanent. "Are you sure?" I ask, teasing him. "We come with a lot of baggage." "I like the baggage," he smiles. "It means we've traveled." I say yes. Not to fix the past, but to build the future. That night, I get a text from Mark. "Heard the news. Congrats." I look at the screen for a moment, remembering the pain, the gaslighting, the nights I spent wondering if I was crazy. I don't feel anger anymore. I feel indifference. I delete the text without replying. Revenge wasn't the dinner at Merlot's. It wasn't the lawsuit or the public humiliation, satisfying as those were. The real revenge was surviving. The real revenge was taking the wreckage they left behind and building a castle out of it. They have each other, and the doubt that creeps in when you know your partner is capable of treachery. I have David. I have the truth. And most importantly, I have myself back. We walked through the fire and didn't burn. And for anyone standing in the ashes of their own life right now, wondering if the pain ever ends, listen to me. The best revenge isn't destroying them. It's outliving their influence on your heart. If you've ever had to rebuild your life from zero, or if you believe that the truth always comes out in the end, hit that subscribe button and share this story. You never know who needs to hear that there is life after betrayal. Don't forget to like and turn on notifications. We have more stories of justice and resilience coming your way. You are not alone.